Good morning, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I want to talk to you about the second part of true or pure love. And this second part is again a Sanskrit term, and this is from Buddhist perspective or Buddhist training. And you'll notice that most religions and spirituality will talk about all four of these aspects that I'll be talking about in this series too. But this one is termed Karuna. Karuna is a Sanskrit term meaning compassion. A Sanskrit term meaning compassion. And it's loosely translated, by the way, into that word compassion. Because remember, Sanskrit is a much deeper language and it's got a lot more subtleties to it than English. But the best translation in translating it to English would be compassion. Now, compassion here is from love, right? This is that loving space of compassion, of what you are going through, as in the person that you love, your compassionate love for that person or the experience helps you feel with the person to try to remove that suffering. That's the intention behind compassion here. Now, removing the suffering, I mean, it's not for a lot of people think of compassion as I got to carry that weight, and many people do. They see someone that they love that's suffering, and it's like, that's so not good for that person. I'm so sorry for that person. They're hurting, right? But compassion in this aspect is to remember that it's not for you to take on the actual suffering. It's to be aware and to have an understanding that they are going through suffering. So that's the only way that we can help. And you know that medical practitioners go through this all the time, right? There's so many things that healthcare sees in terms of the suffering of people, right? It can be physical, it can be mental, it can be emotional, it can be spiritual. But all of those times are times of suffering for an individual, and often they are all connected too, right? So if you love someone, there is that compassionate understanding that can come through that, oh, that must not be easy. That's it, right? That's it. Except someone who's suffering, and especially if they're coming to depend on, they're dependent, I'll say you, and they feel like you help my suffering, you make me feel so much better. And then they might want it a little bit more, right? And that's the fear that somehow can not encourage compassion from someone. Oh no, I gave them 5 minutes yesterday and now they want 10 minutes and tomorrow they'll want 2 hours. And we're moving ahead, right? We're not living in this moment. This is the moment. Can I give some compassion? This is how much compassion I can give. Simple as that, right? And not like you're cut off. You know what? You've had your 5 minutes. That doesn't come from love, right? It comes from love of, you know what? I really feel for you. This must not feel comfortable. I'm going to focus on the things that can help you feel comfortable. Can I do this for you? Can I put on some music for you? Can I talk with you? Can I just, do you know that we all know that feeling, right, of compassion when someone can even just look in our eyes and say, I can see that must not be easy, right? I'm here, period, right? That's all. I'm here. I'm feeling with you. I can see that's not easy, right? So that is a simple, simple space to be. But even that makes a lot of people feel not so comfortable. So I came across this quotation, which I thought was quite nice in terms of how they were defining Karuna. So defining Karuna, again, remember this was loosely defined as compassion. And this person, Ajay Relan, wrote this that I thought was quite interesting. He said it's a noun meaning compassion through action. And this helps the giver just as much as the receiver. This helps the giver just as much as the receiver. And this is an interesting place, right? That if we can be a little bit farther ahead in our own minds, where we're already not going into a space where we can be compassionate with this feeling of, oh, this really takes a lot of energy out of me. And it quite honestly can. I can tell you, even as healthcare practitioners, yes, we can feel that, oh, I put so much into that energy and that support and that compassion. I need a nap, or I need some food, or I need to take a day off, right? And a lot of times, this is what leads to practitioner burnout, right? This happens all the time. And it is not easy to take on the suffering of someone else, which is a lot of people, at least how a lot of people have been trained, that unless you're actually suffering too somehow with me, you're really comfortable and I'm not. And how is that compassionate? It is, right? And remembering that even just a kind look, a gentle word, a simple action, right? They're all compassionate gestures, right? And it is all action. So even looking, even speaking, even doing, in terms of you could just move one thing to another place that's closer to the person who needs something, right? That's compassion. So beautiful. But a lot of people hold back a little bit because of the fear of what if I can't? Well, what if you can? And again, give what you can, right? This compassionate space and loving relationships require that compassion. That fuels this energy between the couple too, right? This can fuel the energy between any relationships, parent, child, child, parent, siblings, friends. It all comes back, right? So this all being in this intention of I choose to be compassionate allows you to be there. Now, there's a quotation that I came across that I thought was quite interesting because you will notice that if you've ever been in a situation where either you've needed compassion or where you have given compassion consciously, you'll notice that there is a space for someone who's going through suffering that is not comfortable, right? So that's what's creating the suffering. That space isn't really lit up with like usually optimism and excitement, and it's not a happy place, right? There's either pain mentally, emotionally, or physically, and the person is going through this, whether they're saying it, and many times they will, or we will, or not. You can see it, right? You can feel it, you can know it. And so I thought I'd share this quotation, which is by Karuna, Ezara, Parikh, Parikh, I believe. Yep. Anyways, it's Karuna Ezara for sure. I'll make sure I get that last name properly, but I'm pretty sure it's Parikh. Parikh. So this is there are so many stars in your sky, but you keep counting spaces they cannot light. There are so many stars in your sky, but you keep counting spaces they cannot light. So this could be for a caregiver that is looking at someone who they are caring for. It could be, again, any relationship. It could be a healthcare practitioner that is caring for clients or patients. But this, if that person gets into the space of now they're doing this again, now they're doing that again, they come in and they're speaking with the person, hi, and it's all pleasant, but the feeling will also be felt on the other side. This person is not compassionate towards my experience. And you might have been compassionate for 10 days, and the one day that you're not, it will be felt. So if there's a mindful attention towards, I choose to be compassionate, it changes things. Now that's from the caregiver. I am going to also encourage that the person who's the receiver is also in that space. So remember, compassion, a loving compassion is felt by both the giver and the receiver. And hopefully, loving relationships has that from both sides, that even when someone has gone out of their way to do something for me from compassion, I feel so good about that I want to give compassion to. And this happens. I remember there were nights that I would just be thirsty because it was so hot and I would be so thirsty, but our kitchen was some distance away. And I'd look at my husband and say, do you think you could get me a glass of water? Because he hadn't completely fallen asleep. And quite honestly, there were some times when he was asleep and I'd ask, and I don't remember him saying no, which is such a beautiful experience to have. And I suspect that I also said yes to many things in terms of compassionate giving that I love. Like there's never any regrets about compassionate giving or giving compassion in any time. And I can tell you this, you might recognize it yourself. You might know times that you've helped someone in need with compassion. And there's never a time where you think, I wish I hadn't done that. And if you ever get to a place where I wish I hadn't done that, it wasn't true compassion because it's not coming from love. So I wanted to make sure that I point this out so that you can look at the the spaces that are not lit and recognize you want to be at the spaces that are lit. This is wonderful about this particular experience. I'm with the person that I love. They are receiving compassion from me because I want to give compassion, right? And I know that they're giving compassion in their way too, right? So that's sort of understanding. I wanted to finish with this one quotation, which I thought was beautiful for, again, Valentine's week, which I really want to make sure that you are feeling the energy of love. So this quotation says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I love that. So this is an African proverb, by the way. So again, I'll say it again. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And you would think, wow, how is that possible? Well, of course, we can understand you want to go fast. No one's holding you back, right? So someone who's not in a good space, it's not holding you back. You're on your mission to get to where you want to go. But you think you're going somewhere far. You're not, because someone with you is going to see things that you're not seeing that are going to help you in your journey. And you move much faster, quite honestly, for the distance that you're going. In terms of, I want to get to a space of happiness, satisfaction, ease, love, joy. Share it, right? Share this experience. Compassion is a way to work together, right? Because this is something that you don't need to keep to just yourself. You share with others, right? That's love. And that will get you farther, and I believe faster, than where you would get to alone. So again, you can get farther with compassion together. You can get a particular distance fast when you go alone, but see where you want to go. And I hope that your relationships are filled with compassion that allows you both, or many, to move farther and faster to the goal that you desire. I wish you a fantastic day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.